17. The hardest lesson for a gentle soul to learn. There is a particular kind of weariness that you know. It isn't the satisfying exhaustion that comes after a day of hard physical work. It's a deeper thing, a soul-level fatigue. It's the exhaustion that comes from feeling everything all the time. You walk into a room and you don't just see the 10 people sitting there. You feel the 10 silent anxieties, the 5 unspoken resentments, the 2 fragile hopes hanging in the air. You feel the settled dissonances in the way a husband speaks to his wife, the quiet desperation behind a colleague's cheerful smile. For you, the world is not a silent movie. It's a deafening orchestra, and you hear every single instrument, especially the ones that are out of tune. And for years, perhaps for your entire life, you've believed this to be a fundamental flaw, a design error. You've been told in 1,000 different ways that you are too sensitive, that you think too much, that you need to toughen up and develop a thicker skin. You have tried. Oh, how you have tried. You've attempted to build walls, to numb the senses, to participate in the grand and popular game of not caring. You've watched others navigate the world with a kind of blunt, cheerful ignorance, and you have felt a profound sense of envy. Why can't I be like that? Why must I carry the emotional weight of every room I enter? This feeling, this deep sense of being fundamentally ill-equipped for the world as it is the source of your weariness. But what if I were to tell you that this sensitivity is not a flaw? What if this profound exhaustion is not a sign that you are broken, but a sign that you are functioning perfectly in a world that is profoundly out of tune? What if your weariness is the most sane and natural response to the madness you are forced to witness every day? The hardest lesson a gentle soul has to learn is this: your softness is not a weakness. It is a form of perception. It is a high-resolution lens in a world that is settled for a blurry, low-definition reality. You are not the problem. You are the one who is seeing the problem clearly. Let's talk about the game, the great, big, elaborate stage play that everyone else seems to be performing in. From the moment we are born, we are handed a script. We are taught our lines, our costumes are chosen for us, and we are told which roles are valuable and which are not. The script says, be strong, but not aggressive. Be successful, but be humble about it. Be happy, or at least look happy at all times. Compete, win, accumulate, hide your fear, suppress your sadness. Present a polished, curated version of yourself to the world, and whatever you do, do not, under any circumstances, show the cracks. The vast majority of people learn their lines and play their parts. They may not even know they are acting. For them, the play has become reality. The mask has fused to the skin. They chase promotions, bigger houses, faster cars, and the approval of people they don't even like, all because the script tells them this is the path to happiness. They engage in small talk that says nothing, attend gatherings that offer no connection, and maintain relationships that are built on a foundation of mutual pretense. They are the adormecidos, the sleepers. They are not bad people. They are simply dedicated actors in a play they did not write. And then there is you, the gentle soul. From a very early age, you've had the uncomfortable feeling that you're the only one in the audience who knows it's a play. You see the flimsy sets, you hear the actors flubbing their lines under their breath, you see the terror in their eyes when they forget what they are supposed to say next. You see that the king is just a man in a cardboard crown, and the villain is just someone who was given a different script. Your pain, your exhaustion comes from this double vision. It is the immense, draining effort of trying to pretend that you too believe the play is real. Every day you are asked to applaud for things that feel hollow. You are encouraged to participate in dramas that seem meaningless. You are expected to ignore the profound suffering and loneliness that you can so clearly see just beneath the surface of everyone's performance. Your inability to simply play along is not a social deficiency. It is a sign of your integrity. Your soul refuses to tell a lie, even a comfortable one that everyone else has agreed to. Your weariness isn't from a lack of strength. It's the fatigue of a constant, low-grade spiritual resistance. You are a conscious being trying to exist in a world of well-meaning automatons. And it is draining your life force. You feel like a tuning fork vibrating at a pure, clear frequency, placed in a room full of clanging, discordant noise. Of course you feel overwhelmed. Of course you feel tired. This brings us to the great turning point, the moment of liberation. This happens when you stop diagnosing yourself and start, instead, diagnosing the game. The moment you reframe your perceived flaws not as personal failings, but as the evidence of your awakening. This is the heart of the matter, the beginning of your peace. Let us take your oversensitivity first. For decades, you've seen it as a liability. It has made you vulnerable. It has caused you pain. You absorb the moods of others like a sponge. A tense conversation between strangers on a bus can ruin your afternoon. A sad story on the news can haunt you for days. You've wished, perhaps 1,000,000 times, that you could just turn it off. But let's look at this differently. What is sensitivity, really? It is the ability to receive information. That's all. A person with sensitive hearing can hear a whisper across a room. A person with sensitive eyesight can see the intricate patterns on a butterfly's wing. They are receiving more data from reality than the average person. You have sensitive consciousness. You are receiving a vastly wider spectrum of emotional and psychic information from the world. While others are seeing the world in a handful of basic colors, you are seeing it in 10,000 subtle shades. You perceive the subtle energies, the hidden motivations, the delicate ecosystems of feeling that exist between people. The pain you feel is not a malfunction. The pain is the information itself. You are feeling the truth. You are feeling the collective ache of a world where so many people are disconnected from their own hearts. To call this oversensitivity is like telling a doctor they are overly aware of disease. No, they are simply trained to see what is there. Your sensitivity is not a curse. It is your diagnostic tool. It is your truth meter. The lesson is not to build thicker skin. The lesson is to learn how to interpret the data without letting it capsize your ship. It is to learn to be the calm, dispassionate observer of the storm, rather than a small boat tossed about by its waves. You are not meant to stop the rain. You are meant to learn how to build a shelter of awareness. Now, let's look at your so-called weakness. In the grand play of society, gentleness is often mistaken for weakness. The script celebrates the warrior, the conqueror, the one who is tough, assertive, and unyielding. The gentle, quiet, yielding spirit is seen as prey. But this is a profound misunderstanding of the nature of reality. Consider the difference between an old, rigid oak tree and a slender bamboo. The oak stands proud and strong, resisting the wind with all its might. In a gentle breeze, it looks powerful, but in a hurricane, its very rigidity becomes its downfall. The great trunk cracks, the mighty branches snap. The bamboo, however, does something different. It yields, it bends, it dances with the wind, sometimes bowing so low that its top touches the ground. It does not fight the storm, it becomes one with it. And when the hurricane has passed, the bamboo straightens up, unharmed. Your gentleness is the wisdom of the bamboo. It is not the absence of strength, but a different, more intelligent kind of strength. It is the strength of water, which is soft enough to yield to a fingertip, yet powerful enough to carve canyons through solid rock over time. Your refusal to meet aggression with aggression is not cowardice. It is a profound wisdom. You understand on an intuitive level that fighting fire with fire only creates a bigger fire. Your power lies in your ability to absorb, to yield, to understand. It is the quiet strength that can disarm anger with compassion, that can dissolve hatred with patience. You have been trying to be an oak tree your whole life because that's what the script told you to be. The liberation comes when you give yourself permission to be bamboo or water, to embrace the immense, unconquerable power of your own gentle nature. And what about that feeling of not fitting in? That persistent, nagging sense of being an outsider, an alien, looking in at the human race and not quite understanding the rules. You watch people get fired up about sports teams, celebrity gossip, or office politics, and you feel a quiet bewilderment. It all seems so small, so insignificant in the grand cosmic scheme of things. For this, you have often felt guilty. You've chided yourself for being aloof, or arrogant, or just plain weird. But this feeling of not belonging is one of the most significant signs of an expanding consciousness. Think of it this way. When you are a child, your entire world might be your bedroom. The toys on the floor, the posters on the wall, that is your universe. Then you discover the rest of the house. Your world expands. The bedroom now seems like a small, confined space. Then you discover your neighborhood. The house becomes smaller. You discover your country, the world, the solar system, the galaxy. With each expansion of awareness, the previous container becomes inadequate. Your feeling of not fitting in to the small containers of society, the cliques, the status games, the cultural dramas, is not because you are the wrong shape. It is because you have outgrown the container. Your consciousness has expanded beyond the petty borders that define the lives of so many. You are no longer interested in the politics of the kindergarten classroom because you have caught a glimpse of the university library. Your alienation is not a sign of your isolation from humanity. It is a sign of your connection to a much, much larger reality. You don't fit into the box because you are beginning to realize that there is no box. The lesson here is to stop trying to cram yourself back inside. The pain of not fitting in is the pain of self-betrayal. It is the soul's protest against being made small. The freedom comes when you accept your own vastness. Let's also speak of your inability to maintain superficial relationships. You may have few friends, or you may feel lonely even when surrounded by people. You find small talk excruciating. It feels like a lie. You want to talk about the nature of consciousness, about the fear of death, about the moments of breathtaking beauty that make it all worthwhile. But you are met with conversations about the weather or the traffic. This has made you feel like a social failure. But your failure is actually a success of your spirit. You are filtering for truth. Your soul is no longer willing to subsist on a diet of empty calories. It craves real nourishment, real connection, real intimacy. Imagine you were a deep-sea creature, built for the profound, silent, pressurized depths of the ocean. And you found yourself living in a shallow, sunlit tide pool. You would feel awkward, clumsy, and out of place. The other tide pool creatures, the crabs and the starfish, would scuttle about with a purpose you couldn't understand, perfectly adapted to their shallow world. You would feel lonely, not because there was no one around, but because there was no one else who understood the deep. Your longing for depth is not a flaw. It is your nature. The hardest lesson here is to stop judging yourself for not being a good tide pool creature. It is to honor your own need for depth. It is to understand that it is better to have one conversation a year that touches the soul than to have 1,000 conversations a day that mean nothing. Your solitude is not a punishment. It is the sacred space you must occupy while you wait for the other deep-sea creatures to find you. And they will. But they will never find you if you are still pretending to be a starfish in the shallows. So, where does this leave us? It leaves us with a new understanding, a new reality. When you finally accept these truths, something remarkable begins to happen. The wariness doesn't vanish entirely, but its character changes. It is no longer the frantic, anxious exhaustion of trying to be someone you are not. It transforms into a kind of quiet, dignified peace, a stillness. You stop fighting. You stop struggling against the current of the world. You don't necessarily approve of it, but you cease your violent resistance to it. You realize that you cannot single-handedly fix the play or awaken all the actors. That was never your job. Your job is simply to be a beacon of quiet sanity. Your role is to be a space of authenticity in a world of performance. You stop trying to shout over the noise, and instead, you become the silence. And you discover that silence has its own profound power. People who are tired of the play, who are beginning to suspect the sets are made of cardboard, will be drawn to your silence. They will find rest in your presence. You will become a refuge, not by doing anything, but by simply being everything you truly are. This path is not without its own kind of loneliness. There will be fewer people who understand you. Many will mistake your peace for indifference, your silence for arrogance. You will have to let go of the need to be understood by everyone. This is a crucial part of the lesson. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must find your validation not in the applause of the audience, but in the quiet, unwavering truth of your own being. And in that space, you will find a new kind of power. Not the power to control or dominate, which is the only kind of power the sleeping world understands, but the power to observe without being entangled, the power to love without needing anything in return, the power to be profoundly, heartbreakingly open to the beauty and the sorrow of the world without being destroyed by it. You become a witness, a gentle, loving, unshakable witness to the whole mad, beautiful, tragic, and hilarious dance of life. So, the next time you feel that familiar ache of being too sensitive, too soft, or too weird for this world, I want you to stop. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Don't try to numb it. Just for a moment, be still. Close your eyes and listen to what that feeling is really telling you. It is not telling you that you are broken. It is telling you that you are awake. It is the quiet, persistent whisper of your own deep soul, reminding you of the truth. It is reminding you that your gentleness is not your weakness. It is your superpower. The hardest lesson is not to change who you are, but to finally give yourself permission to be it, and to realize in the very core of your being that it has been more than enough all along.